Hello, and thanks for choosing the Jefferson Mad Drinks Fantasy Podcast, the pod on a mission to normalise 8-team leagues. I'm Pete McManus, and as regularly joined by Ian Harrison and Hallam Monk. How are we, boys?
How are we doing? Okay.
I'm very good. We're going to do top 15 running backs in terms of our predictions today, and we're also going to predict the NFC. And I was going to suggest we jump straight into it because we know, H talks a lot when we do top 10. So if we're doing top 15, we really need to get on with it. But we can't move on without talking about Kyren Williams' new contract. Go on, man.
Big news today. There's even bigger news coming out of the Browns, though, isn't there? Because they've signed Tyler Huntley.
No.
Things are going especially wrong in Cleveland.
They needed another quarterback.
Oh, of course he did. Of course. But Kyren Williams getting paid, that's a big deal.
Yeah. Favourite of the pod, isn't she? Is our Karen. And
yeah, we like Karen.
We love Karen.
I feel vindicated for 2 years of love that I've given that guy. With, it was only this time last year, Ian was calling him a glorified punt returner. And everyone was jumping off the bandwagon, and I stuck with him. Now he's got $23 million with another 10 to come in his pocket. So good on him.
Well done.
Yeah. It is a deserved contract, to be fair.
Yeah, it is. As Pete said, it's always nice to see special teams players get rewarded.
Right. As I said, we are doing top 15 running backs. So unless anybody's got any other pressing business, we'll get straight onto it.
Well, I was really hoping you'd have a rant on the pod about about some comments about slow drafting.
No. No. I've already had my rant before we kicked off. So, although
come on, Pete.
Matt, we mentioned Matt Cullen's name before, commissioner of the JTT Cup, and I know he will listen to this episode at some point. So I think he will want us to have a rant about that as well, because it's something he has strong beliefs on. But yeah, if you enter a draft and it's a slow draft and it's going slowly, that's okay. That's what you signed up for. So don't sign up for a slow draft, which, for those of you who don't know, means you've got somewhere between 8 and 12 hours to take a pick, depending on what the format is, and expect everyone to draft make a pick every couple of minutes. It's just not going to happen. So get on with your day, wait for your notification, and then make your pick as quickly as you can.
Pete, how do you feel about being tagged on the clock on who's on deck as well? Just whilst we're there, might as well bring that on.
That bugs me, and that's unnecessary. I know some people don't like being tagged on the clock. I'm okay with that. Tag me, don't tag me, makes no difference. Sometimes I tag people, sometimes I don't. That doesn't bother me. The on deck thing annoys me. There's no need for that.
Especially in a slow draft when it could be 8 hours until you pick.
Yeah, it could be tomorrow.
You're on deck for 8 hours. What do I do with this?
Yeah. Me and Ian are currently in a league where there's a lot of moaning going on, and I can tell you I'm on the clock, and I'm definitely not drafting. I'm not making that pick until at least we finish this podcast. So
you're going to come back to 40 notifications in the group chat.
It only started 4 days ago, and we're in the 10th or 11th round. It's not really slow, is it?
That's all right for a slow draft.
I'm really good.
Yeah.
On a side note, H, you won't see my team, but I'm absolutely dominating that draft. So,
Pete, I'm not going to lie. You do tend to say this after every single draft that you do.
In fairness to Pete, I was looking at my team in that exact same draft, and I thought, I'm absolutely dominating this draft. and I'm sure there's 8 other players in the same league that have looked at their roster and thought, I am nailing this.
I disagree with the last part of that comment. I will see you in the Super Bowl in 16 weeks' time.
Yeah, it's me, you, or Cullen.
Yeah, let's crack on. Let's crack on with these running backs. So I'm going to quickly run through ADP, and then we're going to go through our top 15. One, it's Saquon Barkley. which surprised me when I went in to check ADP, because I thought it would have been the lad at number 2, who we possibly should have mentioned in the news. Have you all seen he's decided to announce that we've been pronouncing his name wrong for the last 2 years, and it's not Bijan Robinson anymore, it's Bijan.
Didn't he do this last year as well, though? I feel like this isn't new news, and we all just ignored
We all just ignored it last time.
Yeah,
I feel like this was last year's news, and the fact that he's having to reiterate it isn't great.
Means nobody's paid attention. It's like, you all listened to Devon A. Chain when he changed his name. Like, why aren't you listening to me?
And Robbie Chosen.
Yeah. Anyway, Bijan's at 2, Gibbs is at 3, Henry at 4, Jonty at 5, CMC at 6, Achan at 7, Bucky's at 8, Jacobs is 9, Jonathan Taylor's at 10, Karen with his new contract is at 11, Chase Brown at 12, Breece Hall at 13, James Cook's looking for a new contract at 14, and Old Man Kamara sneaks in at 15. Right, I feel like we started with you last week, H, so we'll start with you this week, Ian. How was your list? So give us your list and then just summarise, because when nobody, including me and H, is probably not going to follow this, so just give us your main rises and fallers.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So my top 5 are, I've got CMC as RB1. I'm all in on CMC this year. I've got Bijan at 2, Saquon at 3, Jonty at 4, and Gibbs at 5. So of the top 5 on ADP, Derrick Henry falls there. And he only falls to 6. So I've got him at 6, Achan at 7, which is the same as the ADP. Chase Brown, I've got up at 8, which is a homer pick. I've got Breece Hall at 9, Jonathan Taylor at 10, which is the same as ADP. And then I've got Bucky Irving, Karen, Jonathan Taylor, and then I've got Kenneth Walker and David Montgomery in the top 15.
Okay, we lost you for a second. So who was 12 and 13?
12 and 13 were Karen and Jonathan Taylor.
Okay. So who's dropped out the top 15?
So who's dropped out? Cook and Kamara.
Okay.
And Josh Jacobs.
That's interesting, because insight into mine, Josh Jacobs didn't make my top 15 either, but I thought he would have made yours, because I know you're a big Josh Jacobs fan, or have been.
I am a big Josh Jacobs fan. I just couldn't. He's the only one I can see dropping off out of everyone else. Like, because Montgomery was a top 10 running back last year. I know he's going to regress a little bit because he's touchdown dependent. I can't see him dropping out of the top 15 in that offense when he's the one pounding it in. Kenneth Walker, I can't see him going out of the top 15. So current ADP's got Kenneth Walker down at 17 or 18, and I just don't see that. And
other than Genty, no rookies in your top 15 list?
No, I was looking at Henderson. I just the fact that Stevenson is still around and is potentially going to take maybe the higher value reps off Henderson. It might be Stevenson that gets the goal line work and you use Henderson as a 3-down back. That worries me a little bit.
And okay, interesting. Good list. I like Walker. And I think, I mean, you put McCaffrey at the top, who's a perfect example of you kind of got to make these predictions on the basis that everyone stays healthy, because 3 or 4 people on this list are going to get injured, and they're probably on all of our lists, and you just can't foresee that. So there's no point putting McCaffrey down at 6 or 7 because you think he's going to get injured and miss half the season. You might as well go on the basis that they all play 17 games. But Walker's another one of them where I feel like he didn't quite make my top 15, but he probably would be just on the outside of it. And I really like him. And I think I think with Sam Darnold and the way they've set that offense up, feels like they are going to lean on Walker and Charbonnet a little bit.
Yeah, and I think the only way Walker doesn't make the top 15 is if he gets injured. If I'm honest, if he plays every game, I can't see him not being a top 15 running back.
H, any comments?
There's a few that I liked that I'll probably come on to with mine. There's a couple. I'm trying to think who I disagreed with.
Before we move on to mine or yours, who's your outside guy then, Ian, while we're still talking your list?
Well, could you potentially have a guess who my outside guy is?
Is it Josh Jacobs?
It is not. Because the brief was someone outside the top
20.
Was it 20 to make it into the top 10? So who do you think my guy is? Who is at 27?
Jaden? No.
Don't know.
It's DeAndre Swift.
Oh, God. How haven't we got that? There's people listening to this in the car who are screaming at the car going, it's obviously DeAndre Swift.
It is obviously DeAndre Swift. Anyone that listens to Ian knows that Ian is backing DeAndre Swift for a big year. Because according to reports, Caleb Williams can't make any throws.
Was that video you shared yesterday legit?
It was legit, but he had a much better day today. He didn't miss one today, apparently.
I mean, I feel like, if you haven't seen the video, he's throwing into what, I don't know if there's a name for that net, the net with the bucket.
The holes.
Yeah. I feel like he wasn't that far away, and I would back myself to make at least one of them. So
the video they shared today was him nailing a load of them, and he's further away than you think. He's a good 25, 30 yards away.
Yeah, it was just, maybe it was the angle that somebody's recorded it from, but it looks like he couldn't throw so at all, let alone accurately. So you look like he hit the ground with one of them, and I was like, "What are you doing?" So hopefully that's not right. Okay, I like that list. This is started a bit like last week where we went to H first. There wasn't much controversy. It's a slow burn.
No, there's no.
Go on, H then. Let's have your 15.
I have gone Bijan at 1. I've gone Saquon at 2. Bijan at 1. Saquon 2. CMC 3. Derrick Henry 4, which means Jahmyr Gibbs is the one that drops to 5. I have got Chase Brown at 7. Ashton Genty at 8. Jonathan Taylor at 9. Karen Williams at 9. Breece Hall 10. Devon Achane 11. And then this is where H becomes H. I've got Trevion Henderson at 12. I've got Amarian Hampton at 13. And then I've got James Conner at 14 and Bucky Irvin at 15, which is Cook, Kamara, and Josh Jacobs dropping out of the top 15. Which seems that we've kind of all got a little bit of a common theme with those three. The thing with me with Cook is the contract situation, and
100%.
I just can't trust it. If James Cook it wasn't sat out on for business reasons, he would easily make my top 15. He would I'd probably put him at 11 ahead of Achane, just as a safety to get in there. But the contract situation makes it tough to pick him. Kamara, I'm not as far out on Kamara as you are, Pete, but I'm not as in as Ian on him. Josh Jacobs, I think he could be somebody that sneaks in, but I just think with the way that the Cardinals play, I think James Conner's going to see a lot of carries again this year. I can't remember. I think he was RB11 last year, James Conner as well. So there's that, and
he's good. I think for me, Kamara, I'm worryingly agreed with you on several of those picks, so I'm starting to doubt myself at this point. We'll see when we get to my list. The thing for Kamara with me is they predict. I mean, we are going to do the NFC predictions at the back end of the show, but they project to be a terrible team, don't they? And
Yes.
as he got all of his points last year from dump offs because they just couldn't. Now that might happen again, but I think the chances that he scores a lot of touchdowns is pretty slim. So he could PPR himself up into the top 15, but I think I just can't see that level of volume. I think Kellen Moore will come in there and want to try and at least mix it up a little bit and try things differently. And I think the other thing to remember last year is Olave and Shaheed were both down at one point. So their best wide receiver was Marquez Valdez-Scantling at one point. So that's
I think
for me.
What's also worrying about the Saints is that the reports from training camps are that both the QBs aren't particularly doing too well.
Yeah.
So Shook and Rattler aren't really knocking the socks off anyone. And I think if either of those end up starting the season and the preseason hasn't gone great, it's just too obvious what they're going to be doing.
Yeah. I read something yesterday that Rattler was ahead, and I was like, that's not a good sign. So we feel like we've seen Rattler.
I believe what's happened is Show was the quarterback for the first few as QB1, and then since then Spencer Rattler's come in. If I read the reports right, is that it was Show's to lose, and he seems to have lost it to Rattler,
which is great news because I've still got Rattler in a ton of dynasty teams. And I have been holding on before I cut him, so I really hope he gets the job.
If you're relying on Spencer Rattler, then you probably need to start building for the future. Not with Spencer Rattler.
They're going to announce him as QB1, and I'm going to trade him in every league.
Going back to the top of your list, H, you had Gibbs slipping down 3 or 4 spaces?
Yeah, purely the Monty factor, which I said last year, and it didn't really pan out that way. It's just I think I just love Derrick Henry. There's no. I had to bring Henry up, and
that sounds like the answer to a different question.
Yeah, I just couldn't. I couldn't work out.
You for this episode, and you were like, "I haven't told everybody I love Derrick Henry yet."
Yes.
Yeah, no. It was a case of I think Derrick Henry's going to be better, and I think CMC is going to have a monster year purely because his schedule. I've seen a hype video of him, so he must be like back to the old CMC. So it was that factor for me, and I thought it is the Monty factor with Gibbs that he does take a lot of his goal line work. I know Gibbs will get touchdowns, and more than likely they're going to be some huge explosive plays. It's just I think the Monty factor for me is not going to go away, which is why I'm just not quite as keen. Whereas I think with someone like Bijan, he's completely obliterated Tyler Algier out now.
Yeah, I think there's a chance David Montgomery takes a back seat this year because that offense has got to change slightly. It just has when you have somebody as influential as Ben Johnson in charge and then he leaves. Whoever comes through, I don't care whether they've been there before or not. There's going to be significant change. And as I said last week when we were talking about Goff, I don't think they're going to be as explosive. I don't think they're going to score as many points, which to me I think they're going to be in slightly closer games, which probably leans it more to being more Jahmyr Gibbs and less David Montgomery. But we'll see. Could be wrong about all of it. And who's your outside man?
Another rookie. I got potentially.
Wait. Is it Woody Marks?
No.
It should be at this point.
I've gone RJ Harvey as my outsider. I think he's got a good landing spot, and I could see him sneaking it. I did contemplate Scatterboo, just because I know that Pete would have a great reaction of me throwing his name out there. But it's whether or not he can take over as RB1 straight away, which I think he should.
I I was going to go with Scabu, but then I just put him in my top 10 instead. So I didn't.
Just
Right.
purely based on names. That's how Pete does his drafts.
Right, my list is I have gone CMC at 1. I've got Bajon at 2. I've stuck with Gibbs at 3. I've got Achan at 4.
Oof.
I think that offense will basically run through him moving forward, especially as we're in PPR. I've got Barkley at 5. Jonathan Taylor at 6. Because obviously.
Yeah, why not?
Ashton Genty at 7.
How have you got Genty at 5 and 7?
Barkley at 5.
Yeah, he's got Saquon at 5.
Who did you have at 4?
4, Achan.
Oh my God. Do you want to write this down?
Sorry. That's why I was like, what? Okay, right, go on. Sorry, my apologies.
He's got Jonathan Taylor at 1, Jonathan Taylor at 2, Jonathan Taylor at 3.
I did consider putting Jonathan Taylor at 1. He has finished there before, but I don't think we'll be scoring enough touchdowns for him to get to 1. So let's stick with CMC, Bijan, Gibbs, Achan, Barkley, Taylor, Genty, Karen. Then at 9, I've gone Chase Brown. At 10, I've got James Cook. I don't think that the contract is going to be an issue. And I didn't think that before Karen's contract was sorted out. And now that I think that's set a bit of a bar, I think they'll pay James Cook $40 million over the next 3 years and get it done. Derrick Henry to fall to 11, which is about my biggest faller, I think, other than the people who don't make the top 15. I've then got the 2 rookies that you had at 12 and 13, but I've got them the other way around. So I've got Amari and Hampton at 12, which is only actually 4 spaces above his ADP. And then I've got Henderson at 13. I've then gone with another rookie in Caleb Johnson at 14, who I think is set to take over that team, and I think they want to run the ball. And then the fact that this guy's name hasn't come up so far is shocking. But at 15, I've got the one and only Chuba Hubbard. So
because Pete is all in on Chuba this year.
There's no way he doesn't finish inside the top 15. So if he stays fit. So the people who miss out for me, we talked about Jacobs. Bucky Irving, I do think he's a good player, and I don't think he'll fall off the face of the earth. But I think he just had a really good run with some really big performances last year, and I think he's been drafted really high for me. I think he's one of the players that's just not one of the highest rated players. Is just not going to end up on any of the teams that I'm in because I'm just not willing to take him in the top 7 or 8 running backs. So I think he will drop down. I think he will drop down to be more like late teens. Kamara, we've talked about, old, aging, just not happening for me anymore. I think he's done as a runner, and I don't think he gets the PPR points that he got last year. And the one that really hurt me taking out of the top 15 was Breece Hall.
Yeah.
And again, I'm hoping he only drops 4 or 5 spaces, but I could see a situation where the Jets just don't get going enough because they're the Jets. So, and I could also see a situation where Justin Fields takes a bit of that red zone rushing away from him, and he just doesn't score the touchdowns. So that's the one I really hope I'm wrong on, because I've got Breece Hall in too many dynasty teams for that to be the case. And then I've already picked with Caleb Johnson and Henderson. I've already picked a couple of outside guys, but I have also made a note of RJ Harvey because I think J.K. Dobbins starts the year, but I don't think J.K. Dobbins is capable of finishing the year. So I think RJ Harvey probably takes the bulk of the passing work and then builds his way up to being not necessarily having 100% of the backfield, but I think he builds himself up to being the main guy by about mid-season. And I think he'll finish strongly enough to possibly even push into the top 10. That would be my outside bet.
Fair enough.
I like the Caleb Johnson pick. I'll start with that. Yeah. I like the Caleb Johnson pick. I think it was between RJ Harvey, Scatterboo, and him, and then I faded on him a little bit just because he's a Steeler. But I do like his landing spot. I just don't know the offense. I know they want to run the ball, and now that they've got Jonnu Smith, they can give a decent screen pass as well. But yeah, just I'm not as high as Achan as you are by a long shot.
It's the PPR points. I think there'll be a lot of trying. To me, there's going to be a lot of dumping it off to Achan like they did last year. But then they're going to have to get the ball to Waddle and Tyreek. But I think there'll be a bit of like keeping the defense on the toes. Let's dump it off to him. Hopefully, then Waddle or Tyreek can get in behind, and he'll air it out a little bit. That's my prediction for that's what I'd do if I was Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, of course. It's such an easy job. It's such an easy job. As a head coach.
On the Steelers, did you see the report yesterday that Arthur Smith? I don't even know how you would pronounce this. He ran like 0-4 personnel, so no wide receivers and 4 tight ends in one. And I was just like, and the guy reporting it was just like, Arthur Smith's out here, mixing things up. I was like, that's not going to work. But if anything, he's going to lean into the run game, isn't
he? Yeah.
I mean, was that just jumbo formation for goal line runs?
I don't know.
Did he have extra linemen in? Oh my god!
It's from the 50-yard line.
It's from his own
on a 1-minute drill.
That is terrible.
Apparently, it was a Rodgers completed pass to Darnell Washington. That's what they.
I mean, if you needed any further proof that Arthur Smith teams are not fantasy relevant, Aaron Rodgers to Darnell Washington couldn't be more boring.
That's what's going to happen with the Steelers. That's what they've got to look forward to this year. Before we move on to the NFC, I'm amazed you haven't had a go at me about Derrick Henry, ain't you? So
I'm still just trying to get my head around it, if I'm completely honest. Like, I don't get it.
I know you love him.
Derrick Henry's phenomenal, and he's in a really great situation. He's got a phenomenal O-line. I personally don't see how he drops as low as you have him. I'm way higher on him, but I always have been. Probably because he always puts 200 yards against the Texans. That kind of normally makes me crush a little bit, but I'm way higher on him than you.
Like if there was a player out there that consistently smashed my team apart, I would not love him.
Derrick Henry for me is similar to Nick Chubb on the grounds of I just really like him. I don't care, like they put yards up against my team all the time, but I just respect their game and I just appreciate them. And Derrick Henry hasn't dropped a step in, and everyone thought last year he was going to have a huge drop off. He finished as RB3. Everyone thinks he's probably going to have a drop off this year. I've got him at 4, and I was gutted that I've dropped him to 4. Like I could easily have put him in my top 3. It was just trying to find who I would drop out for him. So, but everyone has their own opinions on it. So, Pete's opinion is massively wrong.
My main reasoning is he's got to get old at some point. so he doesn't catch the ball. He doesn't catch the ball. So in a PPR league, he's already behind them, which means he has to run for
1,900 yards like he did last year.
Yeah, but he's not
running back.
He's not going to run for 1,900 yards every year for the rest of time. Eventually, he's either going to slow down or he's going to die. So, like, one of the two. He's not going to carry on forever. And my prediction is this year he will slow down.
And that's exactly what your prediction was last year. So,
and sooner or later, I'm going to be right.
It's going to happen.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie, Pete. Derrick Henry is your Travis Kelce to Ian.
No. I don't think Kelsey's. It's nothing to do with age. I just can't stand the guy.
I like it.
It's nothing to do with how old he is. Absolutely nothing to do with his age.
I just think he's old, and it's going to end.
We'll probably cover Travis Kelce when we did a tight end episode.
He's like a Rolls Royce Derrick Henry. He's proper reliable, doesn't break down, unreal.
So if he runs for 2,000 yards and has the same season he had last year, are you going to sit here next year and go, he's going to do it again?
Yeah, 100%. I'm all in.
But do you understand that sooner or later that has to stop? So, what is he? He must be 31.
Yeah, he's 30. He's 31 years old. Yeah. The thing is, but so was 30 as running back, and he went for was it his second most yards? I think the O-line makes a massive difference, and he did get granted, he doesn't have the sort of the drop-offs of like normally Lamar won't just bung it off to him. Lamar will more than likely tuck and run himself, but he still had, I think, maybe a few handful of catches. I'm sure he took a screen to the house last year.
Maybe a few handfuls is the most accurate bit of reporting you've ever done.
And that is the kind of statistical analysis that our listeners tune into here.
Yeah. If
Maybe a handful.
If you tune in for the first time, this is the sort of quality analysis you can expect from this podcast moving forward.
Derrick Henry has also thrown at least 2 touchdown passes in his career. So we've got to take that into the equation as well.
Factually correct.
Right.
Just wait till I bring wait till the tight ends episode, like you said, Ian. I've got Tyler Warren coming in with his passing touchdowns, so don't you worry about that.
Who's your outsider, Pete?
It was RJ Harvey together with my other rookies. So
Pete, I'm not gonna lie, mate. I'm starting to worry about you because me and you have had a few really similar picks the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm starting to worry about me. It's shocking. The only other player I wanted to mention who I thought about making my outside bet for finishing top 10, Isaiah Pacheco could be back and fit and could run. There's a lot of uncertainty around the Chiefs, and we talked about last week that their wide receiver options seem to be going down left, right, and centre for either criminal reasons or injury. And I think there is a chance there
or
that
age.
Yeah, or age. There is a chance that they just lean on the defense and try and run the ball again, which would be disappointing and boring to watch. But Pacheco could potentially break through and have a big year. Right, let's talk NFC. We'll start in the north, and where it's a bit more open this year. So, although it was pretty open last year, I suppose, went down to the last game. The Lions won the division at 15-2, but only won it on the last week of the season. So that tells you how competitive it was. You can get better than even money on the Lions. They are favourites for the division, slightly ahead of the Green Bay Packers, the Vikings in third, and the Chicago Bears in fourth, but only 5-1 in fourth. So they are, in terms of the bookies odds, is probably 1-4 the closest division that they've got. Ian, how much of that do you agree with?
I disagree with the fact that I've got the Vikings still finishing second and the Packers third. Bears will finish bottom of the division. Lions are going to win it. They're not going to run away with it like they did last year. The Vikings aren't going to be as good as 14-3 like they were last year, but they are still going to finish second.
Okay, I like it. I knew you'd have the Bears fourth. that was nailed on.
Well, I think if you look at the other three, like the Lions, Vikings, and Packers, they are solid teams. The only question mark over the Vikings is JJ McCarthy. Everything else is pretty much set in stone. The Bears have still got a lot of question marks, even though they've improved the O-line and they brought in another rookie receiver and they brought in a first-round tight end. There's still loads of question marks over the Bears, and especially over Caleb Williams. And I can't see a scenario where they are better than the Packers.
No, I think it's interesting for the Bears because they could be a lot, because of what you just said, they could be a lot better than last year and still be the fourth best team in this division. Whereas, and I feel a little bit sorry for Bears fans in that element, in that if they were in one of the South divisions. Like if they were in the AFC South, as we talked about last year, it's like they could be a bit better than last year and easily be competing for a division title, or at least finishing in the top 2 positions. So, but they've got the talent. And they've now potentially got Ben Johnson, a good head coach. It'll be interesting to see how well that all clicks together. So you've gone Lions, Vikings, Packers, Bears, yeah?
Yeah.
H?
I agree with that. I've gone Lions, Vikings, Packers, Bears, but I have the Lions winning it by 3 games, and I have the Vikings, Packers, and Bears split by 2 games. But I think the Bears are going to be dramatically better, but I still think they're going to finish 4th.
Okay.
So have you gone through the fixtures like I did last week, H? And
yeah, so I've got 7 wins for the Bears, 8 for the Packers, 9 for the Vikings.
Okay, fair enough.
If you're a Bears fan, and this has gone a little bit Bears focused, which wasn't really my intention, but if you're a Bears fan and they finish 7-10, but look, Caleb Williams looks all right, are you happy with that?
Yeah, because I think you've got to take into consideration, and the way that I look at it is Ben Johnson is going there. It's a new offensive system, and regardless of how good I believe Ben Johnson is, I personally think he was by far the best head coach candidate. What he did with the Lions for the last couple of years proves that he's got a bit of a genius mind when it comes to offensive football. And you know for a fact that the Bears are going to have that consistently for a few years, or they should theoretically have it for a good few years. I think that is going to play a huge part in it. And with that, you add in a couple of nice pieces with Loveland, with Burden. I think it's going to be a lot stronger.
And what did you have the Lions on?
12 wins.
Okay. Right. Well, I've got the Packers to win the division.
Of course, because Jordan Love is going to be a top 10 quarterback.
Jordan Love on the way to his potential MVP status that we'll talk about next week. It's going to. I've got the Packers to nip the Lions. I've got the Bears finishing 3rd, and I've got the Vikings having a bit of a bath and a bit of a disaster. Ooh. I'm not sold on JJ McCarthy at all, and obviously they've got the weapons in terms of Jefferson and Hockenson, and I like their running back room. I just think something's going to go wrong with the Vikings this year because he's done a really good job of coaching them up year on year. And don't get me wrong, I think this will be another division where everything's pretty close. I've only got, if I had to call, I haven't been through every game, but if I had to call it, I'd have the Packers beating the Lions by a game, and there not being a lot in it between the other 2 teams as well. But for me, just think the Packers have got a little bit more, and I think the Lions will take a step back because they'll struggle. You lose both your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator, that's going to have an impact.
Your love for the Packers is ridiculous.
It is a bit much.
Ridiculous.
Right. The bookies have got them as second favourite. All I've done is move them up 1 spot. This isn't like I'm backing the Bears to win the division or the Jets to win the AFC East. All I'm saying is I think
you've got Jordan Love for MVP. Like you got Jordan Love for MVP, and you got Jalen Reed for bloody offensive player of the year. Like, just it's ridiculous.
It's Jaden Reed. Put some respect on his name.
That's how much I care about him. I have no interest whatsoever in him. Like, your love for the Packers is just, I don't know what is going on.
I think you made some good points about the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator not being there anymore. But I think even with a brand new playbook, man for man on that offense, the Lions are better in every department.
Are they?
Well, you're going to argue about the quarterback. Yeah. You're going to say Jordan Love is better than Jared Goff. But running backs, both Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, not David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs is equal to or better than Josh Jacobs. Look at the receivers. Amon-Ra St. Brown versus Jaden Reed. Jameson
Oh.
Williams versus whoever wide receiver 2 is, and Sam Laporta versus Tucker Kraft. To a man, the Lions are better on offense.
Yeah,
And
we'll
got
see.
a better offensive line as well.
I just think the
The
Packers
Lions
are.
have a
They've got more options. I like their options. I think the Lions might just. I just think they'll take a step back. I don't think they'll be. I don't think that. I hope they don't. I like the Lions. I'm a big fan of the Lions, but I've just got a feeling they'll take a step back. Anyway,
Right.
I mean, we can cut to the end, but I've still got them making the playoffs. If that makes you feel any better, they will get a wild card spot. Mainly because there's not a lot else going on in this conference. So we may have just talked about 4 of the best teams in the NFC. I tell you what, wait until we find out I've got the Cardinals winning the West. Let's do the NFC East. Let's do the same order. Go on, Ian. Who have you got in the East? In fact, actually, I need to give you the odds. Who do you think the bookies have got winning the East?
I think the bookies will go with the Eagles again, current Super Bowl champions.
I think so. The bookies are. This is the order, and I would imagine that you've gone with this order. So the Eagles.
I cannot believe you're going to say you've got the Cowboys at 1, Pete. I'm going to lose my head here. I can feel it
the
coming.
Eagles are odds on at 1. The Washington Commanders are second favorite at 2-1. The Cowboys are third favorite at 6-1, and the New York Giants are 30-1 to win a 4-horse race, which is the same odds that the Cleveland Browns are to win the North. So win the AFC North. So yeah, I'll be surprised if you've not got the Giants to finish 4th, you really don't know what you're doing.
Well, I've got the Giants doing. No, I'm not. I've actually got the Commanders winning the division this year.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I've got the Commanders, and I know before a snap's been played, and regardless of what's going to happen with Terry McLaurin, if Terry McLaurin doesn't play, then this will obviously change the outlook. But I've got the Commanders going 16-1.
Jesus!
Wow.
Who's the 1?
It's going to be the Eagles away.
So
wow.
Yeah. I did kind of pre-warn for this last week when I said the Commanders were going to have a big season, but I kind of downplayed how big I thought it was going to be.
16-1.
Yeah. I think it's McLaurin. It's all hinging on McLaurin.
I'm going to take the under.
Can I ask a question, Ian?
Yeah, go ahead.
How many wins have you got the Giants winning this year?
2.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that more than you had the Colts getting?
It's the same.
Yeah, I think I gave you 2.
Right. So we're as good as the Giants in your world. Brilliant.
Yeah.
In a worse division.
The Giants have got 6 really, really difficult divisional games.
That's what I mean. In a worse division, we've only managed the same as the Giants. Okay. So Commanders to win it ahead of the Eagles?
Yeah, and then the Cowboys.
And then the Giants. I did not think you were going to say that. You've surprised me.
Yeah, I was surprised when I went through the matrix and I counted all the wins up. I was surprised as well.
Did you go back and check it? You're like, I don't think this is right.
No, because it took me long enough to do it once. So
if you listen to this podcast on any podcast format as opposed to on YouTube, you and I'm going to keep pushing this every week. You should check out our YouTube. This week, you need to check it out for H just shaking his head every time me and Ian make a prediction about the NFC. We're only into Division 2. So just like now, just like a little old man sat there shaking his head at young people making too much
Young
noise.
people, you're both older than me.
That's just the way you look, mate. Go on. Who have you got in the East?
I've gone Eagles, Commanders. I think there's going to be one game split in them. I've got Eagles with 12, Commanders with 11, and then 4 games later, Cowboys at 7, Giants at 4. The one that could surprise us is the Cowboys, but I just can't buy into it. So I've got them at 7 wins, and then Giants at 4.
I think the Cowboys. I mean, I've said this before, and as I mentioned it last week when we were talking about Dak Prescott, I think the Cowboys are going to put up a lot of points this year if Dak Prescott stays fit. I don't think that means they're going to win a lot of games. I think they're just one of those teams that have the. I think they could put up 50 points on the Giants or someone like that, and then the next week, if they're playing somebody half decent, just don't fancy them to get over the line. I think they're that sort of team. I think they'll be up and down, middle of the pack, probably 10-7, 9-8, something like that. I've got the Eagles to win the division ahead of the Cowboys. I'm with the Commanders in third. I think the Commanders will take a little bit of a step back. I don't think they've done enough to improve that team. They had a really good run at the end of the year. They had a good run in the playoffs, but eventually they got found out by the Eagles. And I was expecting them to go out and make a bit more of a splash, and I don't think Deebo Samuel is the splash that I was really looking for. And I think when you look at that, you look at all their skill players, whether it's McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, Zach Ertz, Austin Eckler, Brian Robinson. I mean, that is an old collection of skill players, which doesn't really bode well for them, I don't think. And I think people will be aware of what Jaden Daniels has got to offer, and will be able to stop him a little bit better than they were last year. Still think he's a great player. Still think he'll be a top QB, but I don't think he's got the ability to single-handedly take them to the top of the division. And he definitely ain't getting them to 16-1.
Just on the McLaurin rumours, have you seen that apparently the Dolphins were trying to trade Jalen Waddle and a pick for him? Apparently that was
Waddle and a pick.
I think it may have been I think it may have been like a pick swap, maybe a second and a fourth or something like that. But I was like, I would bite your hand off if you offer me Jalen Waddle. Like, I'm not high on Waddle in his current situation, and I mentioned this last week. I think Waddle is a good wide receiver. The problem is he is better with a slightly longer route and not a dump off. And I'm just like, I think, in all honesty, those two are probably on par. Apart from Waddle's a little bit younger. Whether or not it is true, I don't know. But there was a rumor floating about.
The Dolphins are properly going in on win now because McLaurin isn't young.
If they were going win now, why did they let Johnny Smith go to bring in Darren Waller? It feels a bit like they don't really know what they're doing. So, okay, right, that's the East. I hope that isn't true, because that means they're not massively big fans of Jalen Waddle, and I need them. I was hoping they were going to be. Might have to adjust my wide receiver rankings before next week. Move him down from the top 5. Right. NFC South. I have to put Pittman back up there. NFC South. Oh, I'll tell you what, there's something about the South divisions in the NFL. They're just full of trash bag teams. The Bucs are even money favourites for the division. The Falcons are second favourites. The Panthers are third favourites at 4-1, and the New Orleans Saints are only 10-1 for favourites. I thought they would have been a bit bigger than that, but that just shows you the rest of the division isn't that good. Ian, I'm assuming you've got the Bucs to win this.
I have got the Bucs to win it, and I can't believe that the 0-17 Saints are only going at 10-1.
0-17. You have another team at 0-17.
Yeah, the Browns in the AFC.
Browns and the Saints.
Yeah, which we know is going to be wrong after week 1 when the Browns turn the Bengals over with Tyler Huntley at quarterback. So yeah, I've got Bucs to win it, Saints to finish last, with the Falcons and the Panthers in between in that order. So essentially the same order as the bookies. So no real surprises there.
Bit chalky. H.
I have probably the surprise one. I've gone Falcons at 1. I've got the Bucs at 2, the Panthers at 3, and the Saints last. but I
Yeah,
have.
it's our turn to shake our heads now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why, but
We don't
when
know
I've
what we definitely don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't know why, but when I did it, I had the Falcons getting 8 wins, the Bucks getting 7, the Panthers getting 7, and the Saints getting 2. So it's a bad division.
It's
But
exciting, that.
yeah, I just have the Falcons by 1. I think it's probably the Bijan effect more than anything. But yeah, I've gone that way.
Okay. I've gone Bucks, Panthers, Falcons, Saints. I can't see. I think the Bucks have just got too much for everybody else in this division. I don't think that's up for debate. But I think the Panthers might be a bit frisky, and I don't. The Falcons seem to be living off. Like, they seem to have decided that Michael Penix is the man. They've given away the first round pick for next year. They've gone all in, and the fact that he's only played 3 games, and he played quite well in those 3 games, but they only won 1 of them, I think, and 2 of them were against proper rubbish teams. I think they were playing the Panthers and the Jets. No, Panthers and the Giants. So I think they just look a bit light to me, the Falcons.
If you look at the rosters, and this is why it blew my mind that I had them winning the division, the Bucks roster is way better, and there's so many more players that I love. The only like massive difference where the Falcons are well above the Bucks is in running back. I don't know why or how I've managed the Falcons to get the 9 wins, but I did. And sorry, 8 wins, and the Bucks only 7. So I think it was that or the other way around. I can't remember. But yeah, I don't know why, because on paper the Bucks are by far better offensively, especially. But I don't know. I just, when I've done the thing, I've had the Falcons winning 1 more. Sorry, everyone. I'll let everyone down.
We go back to that comment we made earlier about great analysis.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know why, but they're going to win it.
I don't know why. Yeah,
Just a hunch.
That's all right. My entire predictions are all built on hunches, which you don't agree with, so it's okay. I do think looking at all the odds, we might be getting to one that's slightly better, but I do think the Bucks at even money to win that division might be the best odds of anyone that we've covered, because I can't really see. And there's other than the other solid favourites are all odds on. You're not doubling your money. I think that's a good bet on the Bucks. Anything more on the South before we wrap it up with the West?
I would bank on the Bucks winning that division. I would take the even money all day, because I got them winning it by 7 games.
7 games.
Yeah.
It's going to be over by Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
What's the Bucks record?
15-2.
15-2. Right. We need to, obviously we can't do this on the pod, or maybe we'll do a separate bit of content, specific Bucks content. But you and H need to compare notes on where these games are going, because
I would be more than happy to do that. But H hasn't made any notes because he doesn't know why he's done it.
No, I've just not got it. I've not got the whole schedule with me right now. I've got my notes with me.
H's dog hates his research.
I've seen what H does, what Ian does with his. Did you do yours on a spreadsheet, H, or have you just got reams of paper like that? Because this might be where it went wrong.
Reams of paper.
Right.
Mine's not a spreadsheet.
Trust the spreadsheet.
It's overrated spreadsheets.
Okay. Last but not least, we've got the West. The 49ers are favourites. Just over, I can't work, the 2.6 in terms of decimal odds, if you want the decimal odds, because that's apparently how I work on my betting app. And they are slight favourites ahead of the Rams, who are 2.8. So tells you it's tight. Then the Arizona Cardinals are 3rd favourites, which surprised me, ahead of the Seahawks, who are 4th favourites at just over 5-1. So another pretty tight division, and the odds would suggest it's reasonably hard to call. Ian, I know you already said last week that you had the 49ers down for a big season, so I'm assuming you've got them to win the West.
Yeah, 16-1.
There's a lot of teams at one end of the scale or the other.
I know, it's all or nothing for a lot of teams this year.
There's two ways of doing this. There's the Ian way where every team either wins all their games or loses all their games, and H's way where it's like, well, everyone just has a good time and we all shake hands and finish 8 and 9.
Yeah, we'll take a draw.
Brilliant. Well, unfortunately, I think H is going to be closer to the truth. I don't think there's going to be like 7 teams with 15 wins. So, but I could be wrong. So 49ers
well,
to win.
You know what? At least we're having fun.
49ers to win at 18-0 or whatever you just said.
Yeah, Niners winning the league. Division, not league. Rams 12-5. Seahawks, and then the Cardinals.
How many are the Cardinals getting?
6.
Blasphemy.
They're having a Texans year. We're happy with 6.
Okay. H.
So this is where I think I have a bit of a wild one, but I have the Rams winning the NFC the NFC. I
The
have them.
entire NFC.
The entirety of the NFC.
Yeah.
The Rams. You got the Rams going to the Super Bowl.
I've got the Rams to the Super Bowl. I've got them having the bye week. I've got them at 13 wins, and when I've done it, I've got them. Yeah, I've got them going to the Super Bowl again.
13 wins wouldn't even make the playoffs in Ian's prediction.
No, it won't. They get a wild card with 13 wins. They're getting a wild card with 12.
So that's my bold prediction. Is I think the Rams may go to the Super Bowl this year. I've got the Rams 1. The 49ers are very close too. I've got them 1 game back. And then I have the Cardinals, then the Seahawks, even with Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Okay. Rams to get the number 1 seed and go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You're not going to like what I'm about to say then. So just to preempt you.
Is this your Texans moment for the NFC?
I've got the Cardinals. No, I haven't got the Cardinals. I've got Kyler Murray and the Cardinals going 17-0. No, I've got the 49ers to win it. I've looked at their schedule, not in as much depth as you clearly have, Ian. I've looked at their schedule, and I mean, if McCaffrey's back, I like Purdy, I like Kittle. They've got options at wide receiver. I think the defense will be better with Robert Saleh back there. And I always think, I just think that they're one of those teams who are going to have, they're either going to have a good year or a bad year. They had their bad year last year. I think they're on for a good run. So I've got the 49ers to win it. I have got the Cardinals in 2nd. And I've got the Seahawks finishing 3rd ahead of the Rams, who are going to have a bit of a disaster.
On what basis?
And I'm really worried about Matt Stafford not being in training camp at all so far. So he hasn't thrown a pass. He hasn't put his pads on by the sounds of it. He hasn't done anything. And this isn't a new thing with the Rams. He has done this in the past. And then they'll go into the season and he'll be like, yeah, he'll be fine. And then he won't be fine. And their backup quarterback is Jimmy Garoppolo. And I just don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to get it done. We've seen Jimmy Garoppolo and Devontae Adams on the same team, and it didn't work.
No, it did not work.
And it was filmed quite closely, and Devontae Adams was like, I'm out of here. I've had enough of this. So...
Well, Devontae Adams was actually bragging about getting Jimmy G sacked.
Yes. So that
should be interesting.
That's not a good situation. I do think they are massively better coached than the Raiders ever were. And again, this is another one of my predictions where I'm not suggesting the Rams are going to go 3-14. I think I can see all of these teams in this division splitting games, taking games off each other. And I definitely think it's the strongest. I think this is the strongest division in the conference, even more so than the NFC North. So I think there'll be a lot of wins had, and I think I can see the Rams getting to sort of 7 and 10. Seahawks probably similar, but maybe winning it on a tiebreaker. Cardinals will have a few more, and then I think the 49ers will be. I don't know whether they'll be as far in as good a record as Ian's predicted, but I have got the 49ers to take the number 1 seed and go to the Super Bowl if we're jumping ahead.
Interesting. Interesting.
Ian
Great content by
shaking his head at me now. He's just nodding, nodding disapprovingly. So
I'll be honest. I don't see the drop off that you have for the Rams. I don't. I think defensively, I think they're one of the best in the NFL. I think they've got a great front seven. Then on top of that, they've got a fairly decent O-line. They've got a good, high-quality running back, 2 top receivers. They've picked up a first-round or second-round tight end. I just don't see the drop-off that you have. I also think I've said this for a long time. I think Matt Stafford's one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL as well. And if someone's going to fight through it, it'll be him. But I do understand the not training is a massive factor. It's just I just don't see it. I think the Rams are outstanding.
It just worries me how much he's fought through it in the past, though. That might be actually part of it.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, I think. In fact, I've got me and Mike have got tickets. Me and my brother have got tickets to go and watch the Rams because he's a Rams fan when they come over in October. So I hope I'm wrong, because if they're not very good, there's a good chance the Jags aren't going to be very good. It'll be another awful Wembley game for the UK. So I hope I'm wrong and that both those teams are good. Right, while we're on, I mean, I've already told you that I've got the 49ers to go to the Super Bowl. So I've got the Lions, Cowboys, and Cardinals joining 49ers, Bucks, Eagles, and Packers in the playoffs. And then I've got the 49ers going all the way to the Super Bowl and losing again to the Bills.
Fair enough. Well, my division winners are the Lions, Commanders, Bucks, and Niners. My wildcard teams are the Eagles, the Rams, and the Seahawks. So that's 2 wildcard teams from the West. I've got the Lions going to the Super Bowl, who will get beat by the Bills.
That'd be disappointing. Do you think the Lions need to? Where's the bar for the Lions? I was thinking about the Lions the other day because they've built themselves up, but I feel like they've now been in that top tier for a couple of years, and at some point you kind of got to go. You need to get over the line, or at least get to the Super Bowl. But then you could say the same about the Ravens and the Bills in the AFC, and it's been longer with them.
Yeah, I think the bar for them is probably the championship game.
Yeah. Winning it or making it?
Making it. And then anything else is a bonus. Especially, in that division where I've got the Niners going 16-1, so.
And the Bucks going 18-0, so it's difficult.
Yeah, the Bucks smashing it. Like it's difficult on that. Well, it's difficult on both sides of the draw, I suppose. But the NFC, like in recent history, the AFC has been a really tough side of the draw. The NFC is catching up rapidly.
Yeah, I think if the Lions, I agree with you. I think if the Lions make the championship game, especially as they're going to finish second in the division, then that's probably a pretty big achievement behind the Packers. So.
Packers have really thrown it away in the playoffs.
Mine is Rams, Eagles, Lions, Falcons. And then my 3 wild cards are the 49ers, the Commanders, and the Cardinals sneak in just ahead of the Vikings.
Nice. Good shout. Good shout.
And then, obviously, I've said the Rams to the Super Bowl, and I've got them losing to the Bills in the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow.
All gone for the Bills to win the Super Bowl.
The Bills have got no chance at winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Sorry, Bills.
Absolutely zero chance.
I'm pretty sure, did we not we all said the Bills would make the Super Bowl last week?
Last week? Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
So...
Yeah. But now we've all gone...
Yeah, but we never said they'd win it. We never said they'd win it.
All right, then, I'll flip it. I'm going Rams to win it all, just to wind Pete up, who's got them finishing 4th in the division.
I mean, just stick with your beliefs, man.
Yeah, no, I think the Bills will do it this year. I think the Bills are outstanding. I think they're a way better unit, and just edge it. Josh Allen's a key factor in that. Pick him up in all of your best balls, redrafts, dynasties, super flexes. Get him.
So H
Great
dropping the
analysis.
most obvious fantasy point ever there. Pick up
You're welcome.
Josh Allen in every league.
Just for everyone out there who's listening to this for the first time and maybe new to fantasy football, Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
You're welcome. You're welcome, everyone.
Josh
It's
Allen
easy to say.
and DeAndre Swift.
It's easy to say. It's easy to say that, but in our, I can't remember which draft, one of the charity drafts we were doing recently, it was single QB, and somebody took Josh Allen at 107, and I was just like, Josh Allen's never usually a bad pick, but that feels like it might be a bit early. So
yeah, I feel like that might have been the THFFBB.
Yeah,
that me and you are in the same division of.
Yeah,
is that the one you two?
That was a little bit early. No need for that. While I've got you, quickly, we should probably, maybe this is a week one conversation, but while we're on it, where are your own team's expectations for the season?
Playoffs.
So Ian, Bengals, what's a good season?
A good season. Divisional game.
Divisional game. Okay.
Yeah. A great season is anything past that. Like, I obviously don't see us winning it. I see the Bills winning it. I think divisional game should be what we're aiming at. You know, based on what we saw from our defense last year. Defense wins championships, and we won't win any championships with our D. So we're going to take the divisional game as our target.
H?
Probably divisional game as well. I'd love to see us get to the championship game, but I think the Bills, Ravens, and Chiefs are just still a little bit too good for us. I think there's a massive drop between us and them. So probably wildcard weekend win again, and then get stuffed by one of them three the week after.
Bengals.
We'll beat you.
Bengals Texans divisional weekend would be great fun.
It would. It would. I mean, we could possibly live podcast for that one.
We'll live stream it from Hickory's.
Yes.
Who have just got an unpaid for shout out there. So if they want to send us some vouchers or free stuff, then that's more than appreciated.
Right. What does Pete? Just trying to get 3 wins, apparently.
It's playoffs. We've got to make the playoffs. If we don't make the playoffs, I don't think it's. And I mean, obviously, I think we're going to win the division as predicted last week. But I think most people would say that's not likely. However, I think Shane Steichen either makes the playoffs or loses his job, and I think Chris Ballard might be in there as well. I think they both lose their jobs if we don't make the playoffs. So they're running out of excuses and time a little bit, despite the fact that we've got possibly the worst QB battle in the history of preseason NFL going on.
I don't know. I think the Saints might be winning that one.
Oh yeah,
and the Browns are ahead of you on as well.
The Saints and Browns are definitely saving us. I don't remember. This is one NFL preseason where I don't remember. There's always been QB battles, but there's not that many going on, and they're all terrible this year. It's like it's usually the established name against some up-and-coming rookie who got taken. Can he? Whereas this year it's just like we haven't got anybody decent. So can we find something? Right. Next time around, we will be doing wide receivers. We will also be predicting our MVP and end of season awards. I think we decided on. Tune in for that. Keep an eye on all our socials to see what other content and stuff we are putting together. At JMD Pod, at JMD Podcast on TikTok. Like and subscribe on YouTube. And as always, thanks for listening or thanks for watching.